Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another stream. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good time. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. And we're going to discuss our FPL draft. And obviously, as you guys can see, we do have some new graphics, so do bear with us while we get that all sorted out. There's a few more tweaks to come. But if you guys are just joining in, make sure you do smash the like button and make sure you are also subscribed to our YouTube channel. How you doing, Jordan, on this Sunday evening? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Hopefully everyone else has a nice weekend as well. Enjoyed the pre-season football and whatnot, whatever else you've been up to. But yeah, it's nice to be back with another video.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, it's been a while now since we did our draft video. We did a first draft. And now we thought we'd do an updated one because it's been a few weeks. We've had a few changes to our squad as well. And as you guys can see by my team right now on the screen, I'm going to get into it and also break it down and why I've selected these players. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, as you guys can see from the squad, I'll quickly mention the players I've selected and why. There has been a slight changes. I am playing a 3-5-2 currently. But yeah, in goal, I've gone with Areola and Fabianski. I believe Fabianski will be the starting goalkeeper, but if not, Fabianski is there as well. The West Ham keeper is probably going to be in my team. I think West Ham, they've got some decent fixtures. Taking a look at their fixture, I don't think it's too bad. And again, I wanted a cheap goalie, 4.5, and I think having both of them makes sense purely for price. And whichever one starts, I'm happy to go with the West Ham goalie. So looking at their fixtures, game week 1 they've got Bournemouth away, which looks quite like a nice game. After that, Chelsea, Brighton, Luton. So it's not too bad. And I didn't want to spend too much on the goalies. Moving on to the back three, which I've gone with. So let's start with the Brighton defender, and that is Estupiñán. So I've decided to select Estupiñán as my first defender, purely because of how well he did last season. When I owned him, he did get me quite a lot of points. Actually, I remember that game against Arsenal where he got that lovely double-digit return. I think it was the last game of the season. And what's to say about Brighton? Obviously, they did lose yesterday, Brighton, in that thrilling 4-3 game against Chelsea. But taking a look at Brighton's fixtures again, Luton match day 1, which looks like a nice fixture for him. Then they've got Wolves in game week 2. After that, they've got West Ham as well. So the first 3 game weeks, I do really like the look of Estupiñán and Brighton. So 3 nice fixtures to start with. And at 5 million, I think Estupiñán's a no-brainer. He's very popular at 51% selected. So it is a bit template, but it's hard to not go with him if I'm being honest. So he's in the team for now. As you guys can also see, I've included Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's ownership, I believe, is quite high as well, at 33%. So pretty template again. But he starts the season off to Wolves at home. Again, Manchester United, I think defensively last season, they were a lot better. They did improve. Again, Man United actually did win yesterday against Arsenal 2-0. They also managed to keep a clean sheet. Luke Shaw was playing left back with Lisandro and Varane as centre back. So Luke Shaw playing down that left-hand side, a bit more attacking potential. He's 5.5 million, so decent price. I know Man United have signed the new goalkeeper, Onana, who's also 5.5. So you could go with the Man United goalkeeper instead if you don't want Luke Shaw. But just for the attacking potential, the attacking threat Luke Shaw does offer on that left-hand side, I've decided to include him in my team. And again, Man United's fixtures, Wolves, Tottenham, Forest, Arsenal, Brighton. So some decent fixtures in there. And I think Luke Shaw at his price point, 5.5 million, is a decent pick as well. Let's move on to the final defender on my team, and that is Nathan Ake of Man City. this could be a bit of a left field one. So he's a differential. Currently, he's only selected by 7.8% of managers. And yeah, I wanted to include Nathan Ake in my team due to Man City, in my opinion, being one of the best teams in the league, also having one of the best defenses as well. Ake was really good for Man City last season. And I know there's that worry with Man City rotation risk, some of their players. But I think Ake is one that I think he will start. And I do expect him to play most games if he's fit. And again, Man City's fixtures look brilliant. So game week 1, they've got Burnley, again, newly promoted team. Game week 2, Newcastle's a bit tough. Could concede in that one. But after that, they've got Sheffield, they've got Fulham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Wolves. So the first 7-8 games for Man City look very good on the eye in terms of a lot of green fixtures. And I think Nathan Ake, at 5 million, hopefully clean sheets in there as well. So yeah, I'm happy to own him, and you never know, he could pop up with the attacking goal or something like that on a corner potentially. So that's the back line. I've gone Estepinian, Luke Shaw, Ake. Let me know who you guys have in your defense as well in the comments, in the chat. Get involved, guys. So yeah, let's move on to the midfield. I've decided to go with obviously the 5-man in midfield. Let's start off with Marcus Rashford. Now, I've decided to put Marcus Rashford in. Again, another template player. As you guys can see, the team is sort of template, but as of now, that's what I've decided to go with. And again, Rashford, similar to Luke Shaw, nice fixtures. Wolves at home. Game week 1 looks like a nice fixture. Rashford did have a really good season last year, especially after the World Cup period when he went on that goal-scoring run. And he is now 9 million, so a bit more pricey. But again, I like Rashford's fixtures. I just think I expect Man United to, again, Rashford to be the main man in terms of goals. Obviously, Man United are linked with Højlund from Atalanta. So if they buy a striker, we'll see, does that affect the dynamics of Man United's team? However, I still expect Rashford to be a main supply of goals. And yeah, I do want him, I want him in my team. So that's the reason why I've included Rashford. And I think, again, he could have another big season for him with the new contract that he's just signed. Moving on to Mitoma, who I've also included. Again, another popular player. I believe his ownership is 37%, so he's quite high again. And yeah, he's only 6.5 million, so pretty cheap in that bracket. And I think around that price point, there's not really anyone better for me anyway. And yeah, I like Brighton's fixtures, as I mentioned, with this Stupinan. I think Mitoma, he had a brilliant season last year, fell off towards the end a bit, I think, due to tiredness and not lack of rotation. But for that price point, Luton game week 1 is very tempted to bring him in. So yeah, Mitoma's in the team. Hopefully he can, carry on what he did last season and prove to be a bit of a gem at that price point. A lot of people do feel like he's underpriced. So we'll have to see if he can carry on that amazing form that he showed last year. Moving on to Bruno Fernandes, another Man United player that I've included. Now, initially, I wasn't keen on including Bruno Fernandes. I still could take Bruno Fernandes out. So Bruno Fernandes is in my draft currently as a bit of a placeholder. I'm not sure I'm going to go with him, if I'm being honest, because I am tempted to bring Trent in, which we'll come on to maybe later. But Fernandes is in there for now, and he's priced at 8.5 million. So he's had a price drop. So again, he becomes more attractive potentially. Fernandes has just took over the captain's armband as well. So, more responsibility on him. We know he's a penalty taker. He's pretty much a 90-minute man playing every week, unless he's injured. Doesn't miss too many games, doesn't really get subbed. So again, I do like Fernandes due to minutes and also penalties and set pieces and free kicks, etc. So yeah, he's in the team. But again, I'm not sure on this one. This one could be easily taken out. But for now, I have decided to go with Bruno Fernandes in the team. Moving on to Saka, again, similar to Rashford, he's a player that's on penalties. He pretty much plays 90 minutes every game as well if he's fit. And I think Saka, again, he's quite a popular pick. Again, 53% of you own him. So pretty template. However, again, Arsenal, I did want to go big on Arsenal's attack. You look at Arsenal's fixtures, they look great, to be honest, on paper. Again, they start the season off to Forest. Then they've got Palace, Fulham, Man United, Everton. So yeah, the first 3 or 4 fixtures, there could be a lot of goals. And as you guys see, I am back in triple Arsenal attack, which might seem like overkill, but I think Arsenal will score goals, especially in the first 3 or 4 fixtures. So I am back in the attack quite heavy. And Saka's in the team. Similarly, Martinelli, his teammate on the other side, I've gone with Martinelli again due to me just pretty much expecting Arsenal to do really well at the start of the season. I do think that, I know yesterday they did lose that game against United. They didn't look great, and Martinelli had a chance early on, which he should have scored from. But I think I am going to back the Arsenal attack. I want to see a few more preseason games. Like, obviously, this could change, but I do like going heavy on Arsenal to start with, and maybe selling one off after the first couple, 3 or 4 games if they don't do too well. So Martinelli's in the team again, priced at 8 million. I could have went Odegaard in there as well. I think he's a similar price, I believe, to Saka. But I do like Martinelli. I think he's got the goal threat. And yeah, he's a player that last season I know who did really well for me when I did bring him in. Moving on to the attack, not as much to discuss really here. Again, going on about Arsenal again, I've backed them quite heavy. Triple attack. Obviously, Jesus is the first one up. Similarly, fixtures look good. Jesus had a really good start to his Arsenal career last year. When he came into the Arsenal team, he did kind of transform their attack. Fluid link up. He was getting involved. A bit frustrating that he wasn't scoring as many goals. However, we know his general play all round was very good, and he was creating a lot of chances for teammates as well. And I'm hoping he can carry that on. And yeah, that's why I've included him really. I think he could have another good season, especially if he stays fit. We know he got that injury pre-World Cup, which kind of slowed him down after he returned. But he's fit and firing now, and I expect big things from Jesus and Arsenal. And finally, we don't need to really talk too much about Haaland, why he's in the team. Obviously, everyone pretty much has Haaland in their team. If you don't, you're braver than I am. He's a captain. He's got Luton. He got Burnley game week 1. Just sorry for that, the graphic there, but he's got Burnley game week 1, Burnley away. And yeah, again, it's a great fixture for Man City and Haaland because again, newly promoted team. Haaland's probably going to be my captain. He's away fixture, but I think Haaland is one of those players that he's pretty much going to be captain every week. Regardless of what you think of is it boring? Some people say, if you're going to stick it on Haaland every week, but as of now, I think I won't be changing the captaincy. Haaland, there's not much really to discuss there after what he did last season. So that is currently what I'm thinking of, guys. 3-5-2. Obviously, just mentioning the bench quickly. I've got Areola on the bench. Obviously, he's got Bournemouth. Then I've got Botman. I think Sven Botman is an interesting pick. Again, 4.5 million. I think he's one of the better 4.5 million picks. This could easily be someone like Levi Colwill. I do like Levi Colwill at Chelsea, 4.5 million as well. And we know Chelsea, after game week 3, have some very nice fixtures. So if I see Levi Colwill is going to become a regular starter in that defense, he could be an option ahead of Botman. I'm not 100% sure. I'll go with Botman right now. Levi Colwill is one that I am looking at to cover Chelsea's defense at that 4.5 million price. I've got Bayer in there as well for part of the defense. And then obviously I've just got a cheap striker in Surridge, cheap 4.5 million striker. So nothing really else on the bench. So yeah, that is currently my what my team looks like. So it's a 3-5-2. Team value is currently 99.5 million. So I still have 0.5 in the bank. So again, that leaves me a bit of flexibility. If I want to make some transfers, I do have some money in the bank. I did want to make quite a flexible draft in case. But yeah, Jordan, I just want to get some of your thoughts on what you think of my team. Obviously, he's quite template. Obviously, Ake, I think, is the only player that's you can maybe say is a differential. Yeah, what would you make of the team, the formation as well? Positives, negatives, or what do you like about it?
I'm quite surprised that you went with Triple Man United in the team because I kind of thought I would go Triple Man United as I'm a supporter of them. But with the fixtures they do have, I see why. Because obviously, as well, Fernandes obviously is now the captain of Man United. That's, as mentioned, more responsibility, but he's also the penalty taker and set piece taker. So he does have Wolves at home in his first fixture. So I do like that as a pick at, I think, 8.5 million years now. So he is kind of a decent price to have in your team from the start. And obviously Rashford as well at 9 million. 2 potential goal scorers as well for Man United in there. And obviously Shaw does provide attacking threats. So I do like the triple up on the Man United players. Also, obviously, Brighton. We don't want to go too heavy on Brighton, even though they have a decent fixture, because obviously with Brighton and obviously with other players, we do want to include others as well, because a lot of us do own most of these players, and we do want a few differentials in there just to make it a bit different from the template. But I like you include the Man City defender as well, just to say they got Burnley away, so you could probably say they have a clean sheet in their first game week, as I don't really see Burnley scoring against Man City. And yeah, cheap goalkeeper as well, which we're all looking for. And Fabianski is probably the one to go for, if not Areola, whichever one's going to be the first starter. And then obviously up front, I've seen this a lot of drafts, Jesus and Haaland up front. So yeah, I like the team and the formation, the 3-5-2. I think that's a pretty popular pick, but also a decent one to go for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just on the Man United, obviously I've gone with the triple up right now, but I am still thinking of adding Trent in and maybe going to like a 3-4-3 or a even a 4-4-2. But again, you'll have to probably wait and see, guys. If we do change our draft, there will definitely be changes closer to game week 1's deadline. But yeah, for now, this is what I've come across, and that's what I've landed on. Let's move on to your team, Jordan. Talk us through how your team, your draft's looking as well compared to your one you did a few weeks ago.
Okay, so as you can see, it is a little bit different to those who did see my draft last time we did a video. But yeah, we'll kick it off with the goalkeeper. I think obviously he's remained the same, I believe, and that is Leno. He's got Everton away in his first fixture. Now, a lot of people have picked Leno. Quite a few people have picked him, I think, at 9.3% selected. He is a goalkeeper that I'm surprised a few people have gone for, but I can kind of see why, because obviously we're trying to save money, I think, in this season at the start, in a cheap goalkeeper that we could potentially have to save up money, obviously, in that expensive midfield, because there are a lot of midfielders out there now that are priced really high that we all want, and obviously we want to save up money, and I think this season we are saving up money in the goalkeeper position, whereas last season we went for a bit more expensive ones like Edison, for example. But I've gone with Leno, obviously, because of his price. He's 4.5 million, and he does have a decent first fixture. Obviously, their fixtures for Fulham don't really get easier after they have Everton, because they have obviously Brentford, then Arsenal, and then Man City. So 3 tough fixtures after Everton, but their fixtures do get easier after game week 4, where they have Luton, Crystal Palace, and then obviously Chelsea. So I think in terms of goalkeepers, though, we're not really invested in the goalkeeper. As long as they start and keep clean sheets and whatnot, I think it is acceptable to have, I'll say, a decent goalkeeper that you think will obviously do well from the very start, at least in game week 1. And obviously then it has a chance against Everton away to get a clean sheet to kick off game week 1. So hopefully he manages to do so. So that is why I've gone with him. And obviously my second goalkeeper is Areola, who's got Bournemouth away. So just in case he is first choice, he could possibly be another starting goalkeeper I could swap out for Leno when he obviously has these tougher fixtures. Now to move on, we go with the back 4. Now, originally, I did have a back 3 in my last draft, but I've now switched to a back 4. So we'll kick it off with Estupinian, who has Luton at home. Obviously, we are going heavy on Brighton. I've seen a lot of drafts. A lot of people have triple up on Brighton, and it's a popular pick of Enciso, Mitoma, and Estupinian. But I've also seen Gross and also Undav in some of the drafts, and even Ferguson. But I've opted to go for Estupinian as my first defender for Brighton. I think that first fixture against Luton at home is a decent starting one, obviously, to kick off game week 1. And obviously, we know how attacking Brighton can be, as we've seen last season, how much they were. And in terms of Estupinian, I mean, he did get 10 clean sheets last season for Brighton, and he did get 7 assists and 1 goal. So he is definitely a defender to go for. It's a bit unfortunate though, because over half of you do own Estupinian in your teams. He's over 50% ownership, so he is pretty template to start off with. for game week 1, which is expected. But yeah, that is my first pick that I've gone for as my defender. Moving on to my next defender, that is Luke Shaw. He's got Wolves at home. I think, again, similar to Estupinian, we see Luke Shaw as a bit of an attacking threat for Man United's defence. And obviously, he has Wolves at home in his first fixture. And obviously, in pre-season, we saw Man United did win 2-0 against Chelsea, which did provide a bit of confidence boost for those who have gone for, obviously, a Man United defender or goalkeeper. And I think priced at 5.5 million, I think it's a decent pick to go for again. It's not too expensive, but it's not exactly cheap. But I think Shaw can have a decent start, I guess, to the season. He does have Wolves, then Tottenham, and then he has Nottingham Forest. So in his first 3, they're pretty decent fixtures. And I think for the first one, obviously, he can either get a clean sheet or maybe an attack and return, hopefully. Moving on to my third defender now, and this one I did include in this draft, but I didn't have in my other draft because I was trying to figure out how to fit in this defender, and that is Trent. So I have found a way to fit Trent into my team while having still some money in the bank. Now Trent does have Chelsea away as his first fixture, so it's a bit, I don't know, a bit tedious maybe. Some people may say that fixture is a bit of an interesting one, but again,
there's been a lot of nil-nils in the last 4 games have been 0-0 against Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah, there is that, obviously, that record as well against Chelsea. But again, we don't know what to expect from, well, a lot not to expect from Chelsea and how they're going to play. So obviously they did claw it back against their pre-season game though, but we'll have to wait and see. But I've included Trent obviously in this. He is very expensive though, 8 million, and it's very hard to fit in obviously him into the team due to how expensive he is. But I think you either have to go with a Liverpool player, I think, whether it's Salah, Trent, or even a Darwin. I think going with at least one to start off your game week is probably better to go with get a good start. Obviously, you want to get a good start, and obviously the first game week. And I think Trent can kick off Chelsea away because we've seen him in that inverted position now. He plays much more attacking and pretty much is like a midfielder rather than a defender. But yeah, I've included Trent into my draft as my third defender, and hopefully that does pay off, especially with his price. Finally, I've gone with my last defender, and that is Akanji, who has Burnley away. I did want to include, obviously, a Man City defender, whether it was Edison, the goalkeeper, or a defender. But I have gone with Akanji because obviously Edison's price is 5.5 million. And I think even though his price hasn't changed, I'm still not very confident on going with Edison this season, considering how many clean sheets Man City kept last season. Wasn't as much as obviously pre-seasons where they have obviously obviously kept more clean sheets. So playing it a bit more safe, I've gone with Akanji as a defender, but he hasn't got much attacking threat. I could have gone with Stones, but Stones is more highly owned. That's purely why as well.
What's the price like of Stones? If Stones is 5.5, isn't he? I believe.
Yeah, Stones is 5.5 million, so he's 0.5 more expensive than Akanji, who is 5 million. So I guess you're saving a bit of money as well, and also he's a bit of more of a differential, well, because not many people have Akanji, obviously in their teams they have Stones. But yeah, I think a clean sheet is there for Man City for sure in game week 1, especially against Burnley away. I mean, I'm very surprised, not to disrespect Burnley, and see if they can penetrate Man City, but we'll have to wait and see. It will be a match, I think, to kick off the season with. So yeah, that is pretty much my defense spoken. I'll move on to the midfield. I've gone with 4 in the midfield, and well, the first 2 are in Ciso and Matoma, who both have Luton at home, and yeah, that completes my triple up on the Brighton assets. And I think a lot of people have gone with triple Brighton just because of their first fixture in particular is against newly promoted team, and as I've mentioned, they are very attacking, and obviously we've seen that from Matoma and Enciso near the end of the season. Now the only worry is maybe rotation. Zerbi did do a lot of rotation near the end of the season, obviously because of tiredness and fatigue and whatnot and fitness from players. But I don't think we have to really worry about that at the start of the season, obviously because these players are coming back fit and healthy. But I think to start off with, for the first few game weeks, I think Matoma and Ciso are pretty decent picks to start off with. I think Ciso is a good test against Luton at home, just to see what he can do, as he did surprise a few people at the end of the season when he did start. He was getting a couple of goals near the end, and also showed that good form. But yeah, similar to Matoma really. He showed good form throughout the season, and yeah, at the price as well, he's pretty cheap. So yeah, 6.5 million for Matoma, and obviously Ciso is I think
5.5, I think.
Yeah, 5.5 million. So he is cheap in CISO, and he is a differential. I did want to include some differentials in my team. I don't want to go for pure template, I think, because I want to be a little bit different to start off the game week 1. Moving on to the next midfielder, and that is Saka, who, on the other hand, is more template. A lot of people do own Saka, and he is 8.5 million, so he is a bit more expensive this season, obviously, from the season he had last. But yeah, he is 53% owned, so more than half of you as well have him in your teams. But regardless, we've seen how Arsenal did last season, and it's going to be really hard to go without at least 2 Arsenal players, I think, in most people's drafts, as they're probably the favourite picks to go for their first fixtures. But not only their first fixtures, they've got really easy ones pretty much until game week 8, where they have Man City. So until then, they've pretty much got all greens and a few grey fixtures. And yeah, I think Arsenal can have a very good start to the season. And even though the pre-season hasn't gone as well, obviously, but again, that's not really, you don't have to really focus too much on that, because that is different players and different, obviously, tactics and that and whatnot. But I think when the season obviously starts, that will be very different. And Saka is also on penalties too, when obviously, well, yeah,
penalties.
I think that's still,
which is important, I guess.
Yeah, because you never know when, obviously, penalty takers get a penalty, and obviously that does help if they don't score from open play. But yeah, Saka is my first Arsenal asset. Finally, my last midfield asset is Foden, who has Burnley away.
Yeah, go through with this one. What's your thoughts behind including Foden? Why have you chosen him? Because obviously we did a video on him last week on the hidden gems. We did select Foden as a gem potentially.
Yeah, with Foden, he's an interesting one because obviously one reason is Man City have unloaded a few of their midfielder players, and I think because of that, Foden, you might see Foden play obviously more minutes, if not 90 minutes each game. And as we've seen with Foden and Haaland, they have a good chemistry together. Obviously on that, he plays on the left, doesn't he, Foden?
Well, yeah, I mean, he plays on the left, plays right, down the middle. Obviously, Man City did actually have a match today, and I believe Foden was on the bench. Obviously, it's just pre-season. I think Man City ended up winning. Was it 5-3? Sorry, against Yokohama or Yokohama. I think that's how you say their name. I'm just gonna see what the lineup was. If you want to check, if you want me to check, because I remember Foden was on the bench. I don't know if he came on the pitch, but I'll just look at it very quickly. If I find it, let us know, guys, in the chat. Actually, if you guys are aware. But yeah, it was 5-3 to Man City in Tokyo, and I believe Haaland did score. I think he scored twice. I can't even get the lineup up, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure Foden started on the bench.
I think he did start though in the last preseason match.
Yeah,
that, didn't he?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just one to, and also Kevin De Bruyne was on the bench, I believe. So, yeah, thanks Alex Meacher for helping us out there. Foden came on and got an assist, and I also believe KDB was on the bench, so maybe his injury isn't as bad as initially feared.
Yeah, I think he didn't play any minutes, KDB. on the bench. I think he didn't come on the whole game. But I heard Haaland did come on for 7 minutes though, and it only took that long to score a goal, which
Yeah.
doesn't come as a surprise, doesn't it? Really, to see that happening. But yeah, I think they were losing when they losing 2-0.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so yeah, when they brought on the 18, that obviously changed the
Yeah, it was a
aspect.
rotated team. They had the likes of Phillips, Palmer, McAtee, Alvarez even starting as well.
Yeah, so pretty much the youngsters they had in the starting team to start the game off. But yeah, I've gone with Foden as well because he is a bit less owned as well as a midfielder. I'm actually surprised the ownership of Foden because it's only 13.7%. Obviously, at the moment, that may change come close to the time. But I thought at this moment in the preseason that his ownership would be much more higher because, as Dan suggested in the chat, because of Gundogan and Mahrez going, surely means that obviously there's more minutes for Foden and Grealish. So I'm surprised Foden or Grealish really aren't better picks to go for in terms of the Man City midfield. So yeah, I am happy at the same time that he's not highly owned yet. But yeah, I've included Foden because obviously I like the link up Foden and Haaland do have, and Foden's a decent player as we did see last season, and we're going to see a lot more of him this season. So yeah, Burnley away first game, and again, it's another team where you may consider going for triple, especially it being Man City, triple Man City assets. So that basically is my second pick. Moving on to the front two, again, there's not really much to talk about for these front two because I've seen these in many drafts. But the first one is Jesus, who's got Nottingham Forest at home. Now, I'm really not sure who to pick in this position because I don't really want to go for Jesus. I want to be a bit different and go for a forward that is less looked at, I think, because I think Jesus is quite looked at in terms of
Yeah, he's
Arsenal
in a lot of
assets.
drafts.
Yeah, so I kind of want a different forward to go with because you could pretty much rule out Harden because everyone's pretty much got him, apart from the 20 or 15% that don't. But yeah, I want to go different with Jesus. He's not really 100% a pick that I'm going to go for in game week one. It's definitely going to change in that position, but for the sake of this draft, I've just gone with Jesus for now, and obviously comes closer to the time that obviously will change to so.
Have you lagged out there?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, you were just frozen on my screen for a sec, but you're back now.
But yeah, Jesus, I'm not too confident on obviously him starting my game week one. Obviously, we got Haaland as my second forward and my captain pick, who has Burnley away. Sorry for this because it says Luton at home. It was a bit of a rush to get these fixtures correct, but obviously he does have Burnley away, not Luton at home. And he obviously is my captain pick. There's no doubt with that at all. I think we're pretty much locked in for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much that is my starting 11 team draft that I've gone with so far. Just quickly on the bench, we've got Areola, who's got Bournemouth away as my goalkeeper. We've got Mbuemo, who you may find surprisingly on the bench. He's got Tottenham at home. My midfielder option. Botman, the defensive option, who's got Aston Villa at home. And Surridge, who's got Arsenal away, and my forward pick. So that's pretty much my draft so far. My team value is 97.5. So I do have spare money, 2.5 million in the bank. I did want to keep at least 2 million just to have there for spares in case I need it. Yeah, obviously it's a 4-4-2 formation.
Okay, nice team. We'll get a few comments up. Oh, Alex is mentioning, of which I've also realized in your team, you've got no attacking Man United asset right now. There's no Bruno, there's no Rashford. What's your thoughts behind that? Obviously, not going with one of those players, one of them seems popular. Like everyone's got a Rashford or a Bruno usually that I've seen in drafts. What's made you back against them as of now? That could change.
I think it is tricky to fit players in the midfield because you could probably say the same why I haven't got Odegaard or Martinelli, another Arsenal midfielder, because I've only got Saka. I think it is solely because I can't really fit a player in. But maybe if I took Jesus out and degraded him to maybe a low-owned or a cheap forward, I could potentially bring in a Man United asset like Bruno or Rashford, I think it all depends on whether I want 2 forwards, or obviously 3 defenders. But I want to go with 4. I think at the back. I think 4 at the back is going to be a good start considering the fixtures players have. So I may result to just having Haaland up front and going with 5 in the midfield, and maybe including either Bruno or Rashford, because I've thought about that going without a Man United attacker maybe a bit costly and maybe losing out on points there.
Okay. Also, guys, I just want to say there are quite a few of you in here. If you are watching and you are enjoying the content, please do make sure you smash the like button. And also, if you are watching for the first time, make sure you also hit that subscribe button. Also, please do share this video if you can on your socials, on your WhatsApp, on your Twitter, whatever you use. Make sure you share it, like and subscribe, guys. It really helps the channel out massively. We're trying to grow the channel as well. All your likes are appreciated as well. We've got a comment here from Jenny. Hi, guys. What are your thoughts on João Pedro? Obviously, I did watch the highlights. Chelsea playing Brighton yesterday. And João Pedro did score, I believe it was a penalty. So that's an interesting thing to actually take into account. Now McAllister has left. Obviously, he's gone to Liverpool. João Pedro stood up and took the penalty. So if João Pedro becomes a penalty taker permanently, and I believe he's about 5.5 million or 6 million forward, he could become a really good option. I have watched a bit of João Pedro as well at Watford. I know Watford fans rate him quite highly. So he's a very interesting player. I think he's a good player as well. So yeah, one to watch, definitely. I think he's a good player. And if I see him getting regular minutes at Brighton, he will become an option as well, as you know, along with Matoma, Enciso, etc. So yeah, definitely an option. And him taking penalties is a big positive. We've got Michael as well in the chat. Onana and Pinnock or Flecken and Delo. Obviously, Onana's at 5 million. Flecken, I believe, is a 4.5 at Brentford. Delo is Delo's a 4.5 as well, isn't he?
I can check.
Or is he a 5? I think he's a 5 actually.
The Delo is 5 million.
Yeah. And then Pinnock. Is Pinnock a 4.5, isn't he as well?
Pinnock is 4.5.
Yeah, so I'll probably go with. It's a tough one, you know. I just don't think Delo is going to play that many games. I mean, it's hard to say because yesterday in the preseason game against Arsenal, Wan-Bissaka started at right back. So that does slightly worry me. I think Delo is a rotation risk with Wan-Bissaka. So I'm not sure I'd include Delo. So just for that reason, I might have to go with Onana and Pinnock. But ideally, I would go for another Man United defender like a Luke Shaw. I just think that for that 0.5 million, Luke Shaw, he's nailed. He's going to play every game he's fit. I would rather have that personally. I think, Jordan, this one could be in question to your team. What about Jesus to Nkunku? Nkunku did score again for Chelsea yesterday against Brighton. Obviously, it was a bit of a scrappy goal, but have you thought of that? Nkunku at 7.5 million as well, save a bit of cash?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I was planning to bring him in after game week 2 because I do want to see what Chelsea do in their first 2 fixtures before bringing in a Chelsea player because their fixtures do get easier after game week 2. They do play, I think, West Ham and Liverpool first in their first 2, and then obviously they have easy fixtures after those. But I think around game week 3, maybe that does become an option to bring in a Chelsea asset. But I think for now, I'm going to wait and see.
Dan also says Pedro almost got an assist and Enciso put it wide. Yeah, I did see that. Pedro was brilliant last year. Definitely he was really good for Watford. I know he's another talented young Brazilian. Currently on Flecken, Areola, Shaw, Stones, Estupinian, Henry, Baldock, Saka, Martinelli, Rashford, and Mbeumo, 4.5 million. Haaland, Jesus, and Nkunku. So obviously 3-4-3. Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously 3-4-3. It could be a popular pick. I have actually not ruled it out completely, so we'll see. But yeah, team looks pretty good. I think I like the Nkunku's interesting again. I think if he starts the season off well in the first 2 games and he looks really good, game week 3, as Jordan mentioned, he could be an option that we bring in. But if you do back him, he has looked decent in preseason. He's got 2 goals, I believe, as well, so that could be a positive. I know John Stones, I think, scored again as well. John Stones is an interesting one. I believe he scored today. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in the chat. Or he was playing advanced for sure. Saka, Martinelli, again, I've got those players. Mbeumo is an interesting option. I know you've included him. I've seen Mbeumo in quite a few drafts as well. Do you want to break down it a bit more into Mbeumo, go into it? Like, why are you bullish on him?
Yeah, I think the obvious reason is obviously Tony serving that ban for 6 or 8 months. So Mbeumo initially becomes like the next best option for Brentford, because as we've seen before, when Tony is either not playing or he's on the bench or injured, Mbeumo is always in that position where he does play, and he is a goal scorer. I think he's a decent goal scorer as well for Brentford. If it wasn't for Tony being in Brentford, I think he'd be pretty much how Tony plays as a
main man
player. Yeah, so I think Mbeumo is in a lot of players' minds, especially with his price at 6.5. He's very cheap, and because of Tony being absent for the pretty much most of the season, I think Mbeumo may become a long-term option to have in your team for Brentford, depending on how well they do, and obviously how well Mbeumo does in that position.
Yes, fair enough. Michael also with a chat, thoughts on Porro. Obviously, Pedro Porro at Tottenham. Again, Pedro Porro could be an interesting option because he is another attacking fullback. We know Spurs are going to play, we expect them to play a bit more attacking football this season. And Pedro Porro is quite cheap at 5 million. He's a lot cheaper than the other attacking fullbacks in the game. So I am looking at Pedro Porro. He's only selected by 4.2% of managers. So he's quite low owned. Fixtures aren't too bad as well. So they start the season off to Brentford. They've got Manchester United after that as well. But in game week 3, they've got Bournemouth, game week 4, Burnley, and then game week 5, they've got Sheffield. So game week 3 to game week 5, there are some nice games in there for potentially for attacking returns. And I think Pedro Porro isn't the worst option in the world. I think he does carry an attacking threat, especially with the crosses and even the odd goal that we saw him score last season. So definitely a decent option at that price if you want to go a bit cheaper than a Trent, etc. Who's the best 4.5?
I'd probably say whoever starts, Sanchez or Steele. I think because of Brighton's fixtures at the start, I think out of all the other 4.5 million goalkeepers, I think they have the very best ones. So you could see more clean sheets coming from obviously the Brighton goalkeeper, but it is tough to fit in the goalkeeper for Brighton because we want attacking players from them.
And also, you probably don't want double defense. Assuming you've got Estupinian, do you want to go double Brighton defense? Probably not. Obviously, Pickford is quite popular. I know Everton didn't have the greatest of seasons, but I've seen Pickford in quite a lot of drafts. I don't think he's the worst option in the world because he gets a lot of save points, etc. Again, I think Areola or Fabianski, one of them, because one of them is going to be the starting goalkeeper. I think that's what I've gone with so far. Again, I think Flecken is good as well, the Brentford new signing at the goalkeeping position. I think those are the ones that we'll be looking at. But yeah, Pickford, I think, is also a decent one, a decent shout. Alex says, could take a punt on Darwin Gakpo instead of Nkunku, mainly for the game week 2 Bournemouth game, and then move them to Nkunku game week 3. Yeah, this could be a shout. Liverpool actually play Chelsea in game week 1, and the interesting thing is going to be to see who actually starts in Liverpool's front line. So we expect Salah to start again. We probably expect Luis Diaz to start on the left side, but again, Jota has looked very sharp in preseason with the 2 goals in the first game for Liverpool. So Jota could start on the left. You never know. And down the middle, if I had to say right now, I think Gakpo will start. Gakpo just looks like he fits the system a bit more. But I think Darwin, we do expect a lot more from Darwin this season. And it's going to be interesting to see who Klopp goes with. So I think it's hard to say right now who to go with, but definitely could become an option. Because that Bournemouth game, I do remember, obviously last season, Liverpool at home, they did put 9 past Bournemouth. So could be goals in that one. Go on.
That has given me an idea, actually, Alex, because I could swap Jesus for Gakpo. I completely forgot that Gakpo is a forward now, so
yeah,
that could be a decent option because he's only 5% owned as well. So he is another differential you could start off with, and yeah, that's an idea I could probably work out with.
Yeah, obviously Gakpo has been reclassified. He's now forward in the game, so he came in as a midfielder. And yeah, I think Gakpo is again around that 7.5 bracket, which is a few strikers around that bracket, so it could be a good option. And yeah, all we need to see now really is who does Klopp play in that front line, because there will be rotation, and definitely the only worry I have with Gakpo, even if Gakpo starts, he will probably get subbed off like 70 minutes for Darwin or Jota. They've got options in Liverpool in the attack. They are kind of stacked up there. Mbeumo on pens, playing forward and a great fixtures. Yeah, all good reasons as to why Mbeumo is a good option. Stones and Martinelli, or Gabriel and Bruno, Jordan?
Ooh. I'll probably go Gabriel and Bruno instead of Stones and Martinelli. Yeah, Arsenal defender's not such bad. I think I had Gabriel in my first draft, and obviously Bruno, captain Man United, penalty taker, set pieces. Yeah, I see slightly more upside. A bit more expensive, but I see more upside and go for Gabriel and Bruno.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll probably go with Gabriel and Bruno as well. I've had to pick. And then Stones or Shaw, interesting. I'd probably go with Luke Shaw right now, because again, I know Stones will probably play most games, but there is slight rotation risk with Man City. And also Stones, I believe, is 5.5 million, whereas Luke Shaw's 5, isn't he?
5.5.
Sorry, they're 5.5 as well. I just think Luke Shaw has a bit more attacking threat in terms of assists. I know Stones is playing midfield now. He's more advanced, but it's more in the first phase and the second phase in that build-up. Not really getting goals and assists, where Luke Shaw could potentially whip in a cross for a Rashford or for whoever, for a Garnacho or someone. So I think Shaw is slightly more attacking. But yeah, let us know what you guys think of both our teams. So just on the screen right now, that's my draft currently as we stand today. And then Jordan's is on the screen. He's playing a 4-4-2. Let us know what you guys are, your thoughts on our teams. Also, make sure you do drop a like if you are enjoying the content. Obviously, a lot more from us to come this season. We have many things planned again. Also, I just want to say we have actually started a new Discord server. So if you do want to join our Discord, make sure you do check the link in the description below. I've left it in the description. Just click on the Discord link, and then and you can join and you can chat to us. We're trying to build a community, so join the Discord. It should be a fun one. And yeah, hopefully 23-24 season is a good one for all of us. And yeah, a lot of content to come, guys, this season. So stay locked in. Make sure you're subscribed, because the content's going to get better. We'll probably take this one last question before we do wrap the stream up. So you're going Ake over Stones. I would pay extra 0.5 for Stones. I would say much more nailed and gets a lot more bonus points. Yeah, that is a fair point in terms of Stones going over him over Ake. But to be honest, the only reason why I've chosen Ake is that save of 0.5 million, just to save a bit of money. Otherwise, I would have no flexibility in the bank. My team will cost 100 mil. So I do want to have that little flexibility in case I want to upgrade, I don't know, a Jesus to an 8.5 million forward, or I want to take Mitoma up to Madison, etc., or whoever. So I like leaving a bit of cash. But yeah, I could consider it, but I think I'd rather save the 0.5. And yeah, Philip as well is in the chat. The boys are back. Yeah, we are back again for another season, and it should be a good one. So make sure you guys are tuned in over the summer. A lot of content to come. And as we head towards the Game Week 1 deadline, which isn't that long away, Jordan, there's only, about 3 weeks-ish, less than 3 weeks before the Premier League kicks off. Excited?
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, we've got about 18 days, 22 hours on the fantasy deadline website. Shows it. Yeah, I'm very excited for this season. I think it's going to be one of those interesting ones like we just had. It's going to be a roller coaster, I think, of what we're going to expect, and hopefully it goes our way more this season than it did last season. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, and that is it from us. I think we are going to wrap it up here, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for everyone that has joined us for the stream. And yeah, we appreciate all your support. If you do like the content, please do like. It helps us out the channel massively. And again, we will see you maybe next Sunday. Probably put another stream out. So again, make sure you do stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, the FPL Duo. Again, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. Everything is in the link in the description. Also, make sure you do join our mini league. Congrats to Regan for winning the league last year. So yeah, do join us in the mini league and see if you can win the league this year. So without further ado, that is it from us. Anything else you want to add, Jordan, before we do wrap it up?
Just thank you guys for watching, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. But until then, have a nice weekend, what's left of it, and have a nice week.
Take care. Peace out.